Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Horror Movie Review with Daniel Richardson, this guy. And yes, this week I'm doing a classic. I'm doing another classic. It's really the godfather of slasher films, if you really think about it. I'm talking about Psycho, the original, the only Psycho. I mean, let's just be real. But we're going to get to that in a second. We know how we do things here. Let's talk about some horror movie news, shall we? Now, this really has me excited, but there's that piece at the end that's just kind of like, eh. So, last week, they came across... Okay, so, the movie The Thing, John Carpenter's Thing, which is a remake of The Thing from Another World, from like way back in the day, like in the 50s or some shit. And, wasn't a fan, I'll be honest with you, just wasn't huge on it. The Thing's definitely it's an example of like when a remake is way better than the original. But they were both based, on the short story Who Goes There? Something Campbell. I won't say Bruce Campbell. That's not it. Anyway, John Campbell, maybe? John something Campbell? Doesn't matter. But it was a short story that was out like a magazine or whatever. And anyways, I guess they found the original manuscript that short story came from. Like, it was the actual novel that was just never completed, or not completed, but never released. And so they actually got the novel, and now it was instantly rushed into production. We got Blumhouse and Universal together on this, working on a new Thing movie. Now, we had a prequel to The Thing, which they didn't... It was a prequel, and you could just tell from the get-go it was going to be a prequel. But they try to slide it in and it's a remake and we got you, it's a prequel, and it's like, well, why'd you call it's the same fucking thing with Halloween and the sequel Halloween. They're both called Halloween. Go fuck yourself, will you? That irritates me. But that's getting off on a tangent. We're getting a new Thing. Now I am fucking pumped for that. But there's two things that just kind of got me going. One, it will never be as good as the original. We all lower expectations down right now. John Carpenter created a masterpiece when he did The Thing. It's just a perfect, atmospheric, paranoid sci-fi thriller. It literally is. It's fucking horror at its basic bones, bare bones. Just, you're trapped, you're isolated. It's fucking cold outside, but not just cold, deadly cold. And you got people you don't know if they're really them or not. It's brilliant. And of course, you got fucking Kurt Russell, so there you go. So, that will never be touched, ever. And I'm okay with that. I'm not one of those guys who just it's gonna ruin... No, nothing will ruin the integrity of the original film. Every remake we've had to, an awesome horror film that's just been forgotten, this is what happens to them. They get forgotten, and they get left at the wayside. No one gives a shit. Well, now that I said all that, I can't think of it. Goddamn. I had a perfect example, and that's how forgettable that movie was, is I totally forgot about. The Hitcher. That's what I'm trying of. Remember The Hitcher? The original was classic, and then they did some shitty fucking remake in '09 or some shit, and guess what? No one talks about that remake ever. You know why? Because it sucked. And a lot of those remakes are like that, and this is a potential to be like that, and that's one thing I'm kind of worried about. It's fucking Blumhouse. Now, Blumhouse is great. They're all about horror. They're a specialty genre studio, and I love them for that. But it's not like they're batting 100 people at all, whether if it's their theatrical releases or their TV show, Into the Dark, which is very hit or miss. And once again, I applaud them for trying. It's I always say I want more holiday-themed horror films, and they do just that. Into the Dark is nothing but an anthology series. Each month, a new movie based on that holiday or theme of that month. And literally, there's 3 good ones, and the rest are just mediocre to just shit. And Blumhouse has become that. They'll release a good movie, or great, depending on who it is that, directing it. And then there's just a lot of forgettable junk that's just thrown in there. Truth or Dare, anybody? Awesome concept, just watered down, teeny bopper bullshit. I know I'm alone on this one, that's fine. I didn't like the new Halloween. Just didn't grab me. I'm sorry, it just didn't. It's better than Resurrection, but what wasn't? But other than that, I just didn't care for it, and I'm just they just did Black Christmas recently. That's the best example of just crapping out some shit. They try to be topical. They try to fit in with the Me Too movement. They did it like this. We're strong women going forward. Look at this. It didn't work. you got woke, you went broke, and that's what happened. And I just don't want Blumhouse to Black Christmas this movie, like at all, on any level. And they got potential to do that because they're Blumhouse. They've done it before. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's potential here for this to be really fucking awesome. And I'm excited. I'm gonna watch it regardless. But at the same time, I'm also telling myself, this could just be a big pile of shit. And on top of that, I mean, it's gonna be CGI out the ass. Like we can all agree on that, right? Like they're not gonna do practical effects. They're gonna be like, we're gonna do CGI cheaper. We're Blumhouse. Cheap. Because they didn't make any money back on that Black Christmas, so, anyway, so the Thing coming out, I don't know when, I'm guessing within 2 years. But either way, looking forward to it. And I'm positive. I'm hyped and excited, but at the same time, it's not getting overhyped. I'm not, going to set my expectations too high because, once again, you know how that goes. So, that's it. But yeah, The Thing. So, there it is. Moving right along, there's a new straight-to-video animated Mortal Kombat movie, but it's like rated R. Like they went for like a hardcore, I'm assuming, rated R Mortal Kombat movie. It's Mortal Kombat Legends, and then subtitle, Scorpion's Revenge, which I can only assume that they are going to start releasing more films under the Mortal Kombat Legends banner, and each film would be a different, character they're going to focus on or whatever. However, when you see the trailer, it doesn't focus on Scorpion. Like, it literally just kind of rehashes the first movie. Like, it's part one, or video game, whatever you want to call it, whatever you go, movie, video game, doesn't matter. It focuses on the first, like, or the last, 10th Mortal Kombat tournament or whatever. The first one that we come in on. And I'm just like, alright. The casting is kind of fun. They got Joel McHale as Johnny Cage. That's awesome. That's about it. I don't know, like, whenever, like, there's animated features that go to, like, franchises, but they're all straight to video. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, the DC animated movies. Like, they make a shit ton of them. And don't get me wrong, I hear great things about them. I even seen a handful of them, and they're not bad. But it's just, like, it is what it is. It's just a straight to video nothing. It's just a little side something. And so it's hard to get me excited about that, because, like, they can make a ton of awesome Batman cartoon movies, but they're never going to make, like, an awesome Batman live action movie. At least not for a while. The last good one we had was Dark Knight Rises. Come at me. Everybody, Bane ruined it. The ending was stupid. Yeah, go fuck yourself. It's the best one we've had. I would take that over any of the Ben Affleck ones. And that's not a shot at Affleck. I thought he did good. It was Zack Snyder's script and direction that ruined those films. But whatever. But anyways, back to Mortal Kombat. Sorry, I get. You guys know by now. This is like episode 5 or something like that. So at this point, you guys know go off on crazy little side tears. But no, Mortal Kombat is one of those franchises. I was a fan of the video games. I'll be honest with you though, like I stopped at like part 3. Yeah, like I played up to 3 and then I just kind of quit. Like I played a handful here and there, but I never really followed the storyline. And it's just funny though, because it's like we never get anything past 3. Like the movies, the cartoon, they did a live action show, and I mean I think they did. For the most part, bringing new characters. But I think for the most part, they really circle around the ones we know. And there's a reason for that, because we know that the first trilogy, the Mortal Kombat video game trilogy, is, the definitive one. So, yeah, I mean, we'll never see it grow beyond that. But that's just like, year goes like with Spider-Man, they do the same thing. Like, we always get teenage Spider-Man, no matter what. That's the only Spider-Man you're ever going to get. And it's like, the comics went much further. In fact, if anything, and I don't have no proof to back this up, but I'm pretty sure only a small portion of the Spider-Man storyline is set with him in high school. And after that, he grows up and goes to college, and then he gets married and midlife crisis and all that bullshit. But he has an adult life. But Marvel and Sony never want to touch that. They're like, no, we're just going to keep him a kid forever. And then when he gets too old, we'll reset it and send him back to the kid. Batman, same way. We will never get a full-on later Batman. It's always we're going to have to do the parents getting killed and do his origins every fucking time. In fact, that's the only thing I was kind of excited about when Ben Affleck took over. They're like, well, shit, we're just going to jump into the later. We're going to have we're going to establish Batman. Nope, didn't work out. And the next time we get a Batman movie, you better believe we're going to get the parents murdered and him becoming Batman all fucking over again, because that's just how Hollywood goes. And I feel like every time they do Mortal Kombat, we get a movie out, and then a few years go by, and they're like, well, we'll reset it. I remember a few years ago they did there was a online fan, well, it was a fan film, but the guy was an actual established director, but he did his own little take on Mortal Kombat, and then they're like perfect, but then they basically went a different direction, did a web series, but it was the same thing. It went right back to the beginning, and then here we are. We're getting this new animated movie back to the beginning. Like we'll never move beyond those first three movies, but who knows? Maybe this will break the curse. Maybe this will break the chain. So, a lot of Super Bowl commercials dropping early this year. This past week was the Super Bowl, as you guys know. Not a big sports guy. I don't know who took home the championship because I don't really give a shit. But there was a bunch of commercials that dropped. We had a hilarious one with Bryan Cranston doing The Shining for Mountain Dew. But then they also dropped a lot of movies and TV shows, and one that kind of stuck out was Jordan Peele's new show called Hunters. That's going to be on Amazon Prime, and I guess it's kind of like a Boys from Brazil type thing. Basically, these Nazis are here. Because the Nazis infiltrate America, and then there's a secret squad that's going to go through and just start taking them out. And, see, like I said, don't really see horror. I'll be honest with you, it definitely is more in the thriller, dramatic thriller vein, but Jordan Peele, I mean, he's ours. He's a horror guy, so anytime he does something, I'll definitely go on my way to talk about it. So, but it looks pretty good. So I'd be curious how it goes out. I don't have Amazon Prime though. Like I'll have to bootleg that shit because there's just way too many streaming services. Isn't it ridiculous how many streaming services we have? Like the whole funny thing was like when Netflix and Hulu were like the only two. It was great because you can be like, I cut the cord. I'm off of cable. I'm paying a smaller bill now. It's perfect. And then after that, it was like Amazon Prime and fucking Disney Plus and Shudder and all this other stuff popping up. And it was just like, fuck. Like now if you want to keep up with everything, you're going to be basically paying a cable bill now. Like literally, it's ridiculous. And I just refuse. I refuse to fall for that game. I mean, at some point, all these corporations are going to start absorbing each other anyway, so I'll just jump on whichever one, becomes the bigger, bandwagon of the two. So yeah, that's that right there. This past week, they also talked about The Crow. Apparently, is getting dusted off. The Crow's a franchise that's always been kind of marred in production trouble, if you will. I mean, the first movie I love. It's fucking perfect. Like it's just a great fucking movie, iconic. And unfortunately, we all know what happened in that movie. Though is apparently got shot and killed on the set. Of course, it didn't really screw up too much because luckily, however you look at it, he filmed a bulk of his stuff, so the only few scenes they had to worry about was him crawling out of the grave, him going up to the area to get his makeup on, and then him becoming the Crow. And they did that with stand-ins, and then they did 94 version of CGI to establish that, and it worked. Like I didn't know when I was younger. I heard he died on the set, and I was like, well, how's that going to happen? And then when I watched the movie, I was like, I was a kid then. I was like, what the hell? That's insane. But then you find out later, it's like, okay, man, it worked. And it was a great movie, but unfortunately, he died, and then they did a sequel in '96, which was god awful. And yeah, same thing. It was just bad. It was just a bad. And then from there, it went straight to video, and every one of those were just awful. I think the last one was like over a decade ago too, and that's sad. Over a decade, we hadn't had a Crow movie. Edward Furlong. And I mean, I can say that because I'm chunky. Like it was like Edward Furlong, but like during his pudgy stage, so it's like little strung out, pudgy Edward Furlong as the Crow. Anyways, I just wasn't big on it. They did a TV series I never watched, but it got canceled for one. They ended the season on a cliffhanger, and then there was like, huh? You gonna bring us back? And they're like, no, we canceled the whole show. So we'll never know how that cliffhanger ends or whatever. So anyways, from that point on, they kept trying to bring it back. And I remember at one point, like Bradley Cooper, if anybody remembers that, like back in the late 2000s, right before The Hangover, he was actually attached to play the Crow, which would have been an interesting take, because I don't know how it would have went. But once he got Hangover and kind of blew up, it's like, yeah, I don't need that anymore. He backed away. Most recently, Jason Momoa, the dude from Aquaman, is that his name? He was going to be the Crow, which I was like, whatever, cool. Which I'm not a huge fan of him. I never watched Aquaman or anything like that. I didn't even watch the Justice League movie because Batman vs. Superman just ruined it for me. Or sorry, Batman v Superman kind of ruined DC for me, so I just stepped away. But yeah, like the only thing I know him from, honestly, and I don't watch Game of Thrones, go fuck yourself. He did a movie called Bullet in the Head with Sylvester Stallone, and maybe that's a bad example of like my getting in on the Jason Momoa bandwagon, but that was a horrible fucking movie. And so unfortunately, he just doesn't do anything for me. Hopefully, there'll be that movie that comes out where I'm like, holy shit, Jason Momoa is awesome. It could have been a Crow, but he backed out of that as well. So right now, the Crow's just kind of in like purgatory. But Sony, without casting, now keep that in mind. No one's casted this yet. I think it's Sony that owns that. Either way, whoever studio owns it, they dusted off and they've set a release date for 2021, I think. So like they're moving forward on it. And I'm just like, I don't know, do we really need another Crow? I mean, I would watch it, but I feel like, everything was said. The first one, there's no need for a sequel. That was the whole point of The Crow. You come back, you finish your unfinished business, and then you go to rest. You rest in peace after that, and it's over. And even if Brandon Lee did survive that, there'd be no reason to bring him back. Like, why is he coming back the second time? Nothing. And then, I'm all for sequels that are almost like spin-offs, because, that should be it. Like, every adventure should be different, but they're going to go with the same exact storyline. And they're all pretty much similar anyway. Like, it's always like a scorned lover. Like, I see this just once. Like, one guy who just gets, like, randomly gunned down for no reason. Like, there's no love, vengeance, or anything like that. And he's just like, all right, go back. And they're like, well, you didn't really lose anybody. He's like, yeah, but I got gunned down. Can I go back as a Crow? And they're like, no. And then, like, a raven flies by. And he's like, I'll become the raven. And he goes on, yeah. Anyways, my point is, we don't really need another Crow. But I guess, if we're going to get one, I'll take it. And the last little piece of horror movie news this week. So, a while back ago, and I even talked on our other show, TPS TV, and this has been about a year ago, that they were going to, CW was planning on doing a Lost Boys TV series. I guess kind of like how the El Rey Network did From Dusk Till Dawn, where it's just going to be like, basically the movie, like remaking the movie, but then expanded. I have yet to see a single episode from Dusk Till Dawn, by the way. I hear great things. I'm not trying to hold out. I just haven't come across it yet. And I plan on watching it. But anyway, beyond all that, they're going to do the same thing with the Lost Boys. But they were going to do the old gender swap, where instead of it being, Sam and Mike, it's just going to be a couple girls. I don't know if it's still going to be like Samantha and Michelle. I don't know. I don't know what they were planning. But they had Catherine Hardwicke, the chick that did, I said chick, I don't care. Fuck it. Yeah, come at me. They had the chick that did Twilight, and I've just never been a fan of hers at all. What else? She did Red White Riding Hood, same thing. It was just like, God damn, you suck. And she did another, I can't remember what it was. It was a smaller budget movie, but I saw it, and I just remember thinking like, wow, like, just hold the camera still. Quit doing these swooping motions. Fuck's sake. Anyways, they got her to do the pilot, which, once again, the CW's core audience is like teenagers. I get it. They got Riverdale and Vampire Diaries and what something on there, Supernatural, shit like that. So it's like, yeah, I get it. That's the core audience. So I'm not hating on for that. But then it's like they're doing the gender swap, and then they get the chick that does, Twilight to come in and do it. So it's just like, I'm already out. I'm done. And I was like, whatever. I don't want to go this whole like soapbox. No matter what you say, it's gonna come off like you're just being sexist. And that's not the case. But it's like, really, it doesn't work. Hollywood's been gender swapping now for the past, decade or whatever, and it hasn't worked at all. You guys doing Ghostbusters 2? Oh, you're not? No, they're redoing it again. They're doing yet another reboot because the female Ghostbusters sucked so much dick. It was ridiculous. Ocean's 8 came out, and they're like, yes, it was the biggest grossing, whatever. And it was like, yeah, when you adjust for inflation, or when you don't adjust for inflation, it's like, no, if that would have came out back in the day, it would have bombed. Sorry. Yeah. And it just, there's other examples, and it's just like, just stop. And I'm not even going to get like that guy who's just like, well, you should do the opposite. Just take a female and make no. Just leave the genders the way they are. It doesn't fucking matter. If you're going to rip off something, go ahead and just rip it off, but don't sit there and remake it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a gender swap. It's a totally different perspective. You're an idiot. And that's why your thing failed. Well, apparently they did it. They shot it. The pilot was shot. And then CW just scrapped it. And they literally said, we're going to reshoot it and redo it, get a different cast. Whole new cast. The cast lost their job. And they got a different director to come back in. Because, Catherine Hardwicke. And anyways, but they're actually going back. And they actually said it's going to be Sam and Michael. Which it should be. It's not a man thing. It's just, that's it. Like if I redid Terminator, and I'm just like, well, we ain't gonna focus on Sarah Connor. It's just gonna be about Kyle Reese and John Connor. Two dudes. No, you don't do that. You can't have Sarah Connor. And then she goes off and gets a whole female crew. They killed John Connor at the very beginning. And yeah, that movie didn't do good either, did it? Yeah, boom, right there. So, new Lost Boys coming out. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be still teeny bopper bullshit. So, I mean, I don't care one way or another. I got cousins that watch CW, so, I mean, I'm sure they'll tell me about it and be like, oh, it's great. It's a great show. You should watch it, Daniel. And I'll be like, oh, I'm good. I'm just good. I don't care. So, that's it. Moving on now to the Villain Showdown. So a couple weeks ago, we had Pinhead going up against Samara, doesn't matter. It don't matter because she's not in it no more. Pinhead came out victorious, and the best thing I read was pretty much what I stated, that, I mean, Pinhead's the leader of hell. He's the leader of evil, pretty much. And so Samara ain't going to be able to do shit, like literally. Even if she came out of her videotape, he just rip her apart with chains. His power trumps her power, and that's it. So, but this week, we got a totally different matchup. Another random matchup. This week, we got Ghostface going up against Candyman. Now, Ghostface, I don't care which iteration you use. There's been several people to portray Ghostface. Ghostface, of course, from Scream. In the first two movies, it was Billy Loomis and Stu Marker, something like that, Marcher, doesn't matter. Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich, and they were the original two Ghostface. And then, of course, unfortunately, these Ghostface aren't very reliable. They get killed in every movie, but the spirit lives on. The spirit of Ghostface lives on, or I guess the essence of it, because in part two, it's Timothy Olyphant and Jackie from the Roseanne, or the Connors, whatever you call it. I'm blanking on her name right now. Doesn't matter. But she played Billy's mom, and they came back, and then they get killed. And in part three, it was Roman, Sidney Prescott's long-lost brother, and then he shows up, and then he gets killed. And then in part four, it's Sidney's, cousin? That's where that one sucked, in my opinion. That's when I went to shit, but her cousin becomes a killer. Not for everybody had personal vendettas or just crazy. She was just a lazy millennial, didn't want to get jobs. I'll just rather kill and then, get a reality TV show. That was literally what happened. I didn't watch the MTV series because I just didn't give a shit, but I'm sure there was probably several killers on there too. So whatever Ghostface you want to use in this scenario, by all means. Hell, if you want to use them all, why not? Probably needs help because honestly, these guys, they're human, they're mortal, and most of them are just young. They're inexperienced killers. They're all just hey, it'd be awesome to be a killer in a scary movie, and then they put on the outfit and then they trip over themselves. The whole movie's just them running and tripping over shit and then getting bested by Sidney every time. Strengths, I mean, psychological, I guess. You don't know who it is. You integrate yourself into a large group of friends. It can be anybody, and at this point, you start picking them off one by one. So they definitely got, there is a certain level of intelligence there. Their weapon of choice, usually the butcher knife, or kitchen knife, or steak knife, I don't know what it is. It's a knife. But yeah, that, and I guess it's the element of surprise. They pop up on you. They do psychological things on you. I don't know how well it's going to work against Pinhead. Or, sorry, not Pinhead, sorry, Candyman. I don't know if he'll answer the phone, or even have a phone. I don't know if he even has a phone. Anyways, and then their weaknesses, like I mentioned, they're clumsy as fuck, and they're mortal. They've died, every one of them. There's never been a Ghostface to survive a Scream movie, not yet. So, anyways, that's that going for them. And then on the other side, you got Candyman, who has his own trilogy and has a remake coming out soon by our boy Jordan Peele. So, Candyman, he was a former slave? Is that what it was? And he was also a painter. And then they lynched him and chopped his hand off so he couldn't paint anymore, and he had a hook, and there were bees for some reason. And anyways, he turned into a modern day, urban Bloody Mary, where, you say his name into the mirror. Instead of doing it 10 times, I just got to do it 3 times, and then he pops, or 5. Doesn't matter. He pops up on you, and then he kills you. That's it. Supernatural is clearly his strengths. He has this power, and once again, he can pop out anywhere. And the thing is, you don't even have to summon him. Someone else can summon him that you have no connection to. And if you just happen to be in a room when the Candyman pops up, you're dead. Ask the Virginia Madsen's psychiatrist there. Boom. Pour her up. I've never seen Candyman 2 or 3. I'm not gonna lie. I like the first Candyman. I like it. It's not like high on my list of like favorite horror film. I know a lot of people will put a lot of stock into that. I don't. This is one of the few times I think the remake's gonna be way better than the original, and I'm really looking forward to the remake. But yeah, I was never huge on Candyman, so I don't even know like what his weaknesses are. I mean, I guess if you just don't believe in him, or just don't say his name, or whatever, you can avoid it all. But I think in this scenario, he has to be called forward, so I don't know what his weaknesses really are. Didn't his daughter become the killer in like part 3? Yeah, I'm a horror poser right now, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know shit about Candyman. So anyways, there it is. It's Ghostface with his knife against Candyman with his hook. Supernatural versus high school kids? Who knows? Ball's in your court. Who do you think wins that match between Ghostface and Candyman? Drop the comments down below and give me your little story. I am loving these right now. I've been hearing multiple little scenarios each time, and they're great. So keep that up. Let me know how this match plays out, and just tell me who you think wins. And once again, you can go by just who your favorite is, or if you want to get all legit. I don't know. Maybe it's a break a mirror, and there's like, fuck it, we're not gonna call his name. Break the mirror, walk away, don't say his name. You're good. And that's how the Ghostface could win it. Or Candyman just rips apart. I mean, that's it. That's it, right? Alrighty. So, guys, we're moving now on to some upcoming horror films that will be coming out. One of them was kind of slid in here at the last second from last week. It is a movie called Come to Daddy. And it is Elijah Wood, who, dude, this guy is like, he's all over the horror scene. Like, seriously, he did like the Maniac remake, and he did another horror film. I forget what it was. But he did that kind of like horror thriller with Sasha Grey. I mean, I didn't realize it, but he has like his own production company that specializes in making horror films, which is awesome. Like, I just didn't think Elijah Wood, Frodo would be a horror movie guy, but it turns out he's on our side. Anyways, so the premise here is that he's like in his 30s or whatever, and this his father, who he's never met before, his mother don't talk about him, gets in contact with him, and he goes out to the dude's house, his cabin or whatever, and they just kind of start talking. They kind of hit it off a little bit, but he realizes that his dad's probably a bit crazy. The trailer don't go into a whole lot of detail about like what this entails. I'm just going to assume the dude's a serial killer, like that's usually where these things go. But yeah, and then of course you find out that he's very unstable, and now Elijah Wood has to kind of run from his father. Coming Daddy, yeah, coming out. It'll be out this weekend actually, so there it is. And then next weekend we got. Let me lean forward here. Oh yeah, Fantasy Island. There it is. Blumhouse Fantasy Island. Remember the show from the 70s? It's that, but with a horror twist. Basically, these people go to this island where all your fantasies come true, and they all have like similar, like I don't know, something that's. They're not asking for just like blowjobs and cocaine. Like that to me seems like, wouldn't that just be what Fantasy Island would be? But like one girl is just, I mean, it's Lucy Hale, who's in Truth or Dare, one of Blumhouse's flops I was talking about. I don't know if it flopped or not. I know critically it didn't do too well. Maybe it did well money wise, but I don't know if it didn't do good critically. But she's back, which I know her best as Arya from Pretty Little Liars. Come at me for that. I don't care. I love that show. Anyways, but she's there, and like she's just like, I want to get revenge on the girl that bullied me, and then they have that girl there. And of course it's like, holy shit, she's going to turn into torture porn real quick. But then the other one gets a little more crazy. Maggie Q's in it as well, which I really love her. Die Hard, or Live Free or Die Hard, or Live Free and Die Hard. And then she was in Balls of Fury. She's done other stuff too. That's probably more critically acclaimed, but I'm a fan of the low art movies. And anyway, but she's in this, and she's also her whole thing is, I don't know if she tells them or not, or if they just know magically, but her kid died. And then when she shows up on the island, guess what? The kid's there. And it's like, holy shit, we're going supernatural on this bitch. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be PG-13. And I'm the kind of guy that'll tell you right now that a rating doesn't matter. It doesn't. There has been numerous films throughout the history of horror that are not a solid R rating that have done well. I mean, or that are scary and they work. But they are few and far between. And I'm not going to lie, I'm the kind of guy that will tell you straight up, I don't care how sexist it sounds here in 2020, but a hard R, if the movie sucks, but it's got plenty of nudity and gore, I'm usually okay with that. If it's just like blood and titties, I'll be like, alright. I mean, the story sucks, but at least I'm engaged and I'm watching it. When it's PG-13, it sucks. There's nothing. There's just nothing, and I just don't care. So, I mean, if you're PG-13, it's fine. You better have a damn good story, though. You better bring the scares. Once again, it's Blumhouse. They are kind of hit or miss in this territory, so it is what it is. Anyways, but yeah, comes out next weekend, and I'm kind of curious about it. I mean, I think actually we're probably going to see it. Angel, she's all about it, so I think the rest of the movie we're going to watch this month, so I'll check it out, Maybe do a video about it, so stay tuned to that. But, yeah, there's that. So let's get down to our main event now, shall we? The movie we've been wanting to talk about. We're going back to 1960 for a little film called Psycho. Psycho, my God. I mean, it is the godfather of horror films. Slasher films. Alfred Hitchcock concocted this perfect film. I mean, now I watch it and it's just as effective watching it now as it was the first time I saw it. The first time I watched this thing, actually, I was a junior high, maybe elementary. No, I had to be junior high because the remake of Psycho was coming out, and I just remember thinking like, oh shit, like this movie's coming out, everybody's talking about it. Because I mean, despite how bad the remake turned out to be, both financially and critically, it was hyped up. Like everybody's like, holy shit. And so I just remember thinking like, well, what the fuck's Psycho? And I mean, I was lucky. I had no idea about any of it. So the twist was fresh for me. So I just remember I stayed with my cousin that like a weekend, and his mom was a huge Psycho fan. For whatever reason, nobody else, like my uncle, who's a huge horror fan, he didn't have the Psycho movies. I mean, I don't know, he just wasn't a fan, I guess. We didn't have them at home, and we're a big movie family, but she was a huge Psycho fan. So she recently bought, and this is old school VHS, but she had the box set of the 4 Psycho movies. Now, to date, I have never seen 3 and 4 at all. Or the TV show, because it would go on. It actually did a TV movie called Bates Motel, like in the 90s, early 90s, I think. It had the girl from Tank Girl in it. Patty Lori, is that her name? Lori Petty? Patty? I don't know. The short-haired girl from Tank Girl and In the Army Now. Anyway, but she was in it, and it was supposed to be a movie that was going to be essentially like a pilot that were going to turn into a movie, and it just never happened. But then, of course, most recently they did the Bates Motel with was it Eddie Highmore and Vera Farmiga, the girl from The Conjuring and Departed. They're in it. But anyway, but at this point, I've never seen any of that. I've only seen the first 2 Psychos, and the first 2 I watched was that weekend, and I should remember. At that age, I wasn't into black and white movies. Like, I was a stupid kid. Don't worry, most of you kids out there, you're stupid. You just don't realize that there's a lot of great art and hidden gems in films that are, older than, 2000. So, literally, I just remember thinking, like, wow, it's black and white. And then watching it and just, like, getting sucked into it hard fucking core. The only thing I knew about Psycho going into it was that someone gets killed in the shower, and that's all I knew. I didn't know that Norm Bates, I didn't know about the mother or nothing like that. So when I'm watching it, it really was like watching it like it was 1960 with a crowd of people and not know anything about it. And I mean, I'm very grateful and fortunate for that, because I think honestly that is probably why I love it so much. Because I mean, who knows? I may have liked it the same, but the fact that I literally had no idea what it was like going into that, you can't do that. You can't duplicate that, The basic plot here is, Janet Leigh ends up, she's a secretary, and she steals. I thought it was more than this. I know it's 1960, but it's 40,000, and she takes it on the run. I'm like, wow, you risked it all for 40,000. Okay. And of course, as she's on the run, she comes across the Bates Motel, which is ran by Norman Bates and his mother. I'm using air quotes there. Anyways, and that's the rest at this point. This movie is just brilliant for so many reasons. The way Hitchcock is a master director. I highly urge anybody out there. I mean, I don't care if you're just strictly horror and that's it. No, you go back and watch all his shit, especially his American shit. Like, there's some good stuff that he did in Britain prior to coming over to America, but I mean, he really gets good when he's over here in America. And like, even the ones that were considered like flops back then I think are just fucking brilliant today. Even in movies that weren't high on the suspense, he would still somehow bring in some thrilling, suspenseful moments in each of these films. He's a mastermind, and here he is at the top of his game. This is it. This is him at his best right here. You know, you're seeing her commit these crimes. I mean, you know, she's doing it for the right reasons, but still, you know, you don't steal 40,000 from, you know, other people. You just don't do that, and yet you're still on her side. And so whenever, you know, like, you know, even you know, the small scenes like, you know, her falling asleep on the side of the road, and then the cop shows up and is kind of looking at her, and just he's very suspicious of her. And you're feeling bad for her. You want her to get away, and then when she, you know, goes into town to change out the car, and then he shows up, and you're like, oh shit! Like, you're really on her side, even though clearly she's, you know, in the wrong. And the same happens later on when we get to Norman, portrayed by Anthony Perkins, brilliantly, I might add. And once again, even if you've never seen it before, you know, whatever. But I've seen this thing, like, no exaggeration, probably close to 100 times. Like, I love this movie. And every time you watch it, knowing, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, that Norman Bates is the killer, he's Mother, knowing that he's going to butcher this poor woman in the shower, when they have their conversation and you see him talk, you still feel for him. You're still on his side. And even when, like, you know, the murder's done and he comes down, oh my God, Mother, what'd you do? And he cleans it up. And, you know, the scene where he puts her in the trunk of the car and pushes it into the swampy bog or whatever, and it stuck, you know, gets stuck for a second, and you're just like, holy shit, please sink. And you're kind of feeling sorry that he's not going to get away with it. And it's just weird, but like, he was able to manipulate that emotion. And not just Hitchcock, but I mean, Perkins's portrayal of Norman Bates. I mean, he's so sympathetic. He's such a nice guy. I would stop and have a cheese sandwich with this guy. I really would, because I mean, he comes off so friendly. And even when, like, later on, everybody shows up and starts interrogating and asking, the same thing. You're just like, you like this guy. You just, you know, he's so relatable. Yeah, and I mean, once again, though, I mean, they're the one, you know, that's the psycho of it. You know, he's psychotic. The movie is just, it's phenomenal. I mean, from every aspect of it. The directing is just, can't say enough about. Top shelf shit. Bernard Herrmann's score, brilliant. Both will just be influential for, you know, years to come. You know, how you score music to horror. You know, people took a lot of cues from this. The fact that Janet Leigh gets killed early on, being the kid that watched it, and you know, when you're a kid, you know how movies work. I don't care how old you are, when you start watching films, you know there's a formula. And when your main character, even if they die, they usually die in the third reel. They'll make it to the end, or the third act. They'll make it to the end. So when she's in the shower, I'm just like, holy shit. And then I knew it. At that point, I was like, oh shit, this is the shower scene. And she's butchered. And it's like, holy shit. Who are we on now? Like, whose side are we on now? Are we on Norman's? Is that who we're, you know, for? And then for us, when, you know, Vera Miles and, I forget the actor that plays him, but Sam Loomis show up, and, you know, you're kind of more on their side, but it is like, holy shit, like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about this movie. It is perfect. I mean, just every little thing, the way it's shot, the way it looks, just the, you know, the different angles, the cutting, the editing, all that stuff. It's just brilliant. It really, I mean, I you know, that's all there is to it. I'm not gonna keep going on about it. We ain't gonna break everything down. It's brilliant. Check it out. If you have not seen Psycho, I don't care. Do yourself a favor right now. Stop watching this video. Go out, get it. Don't even rent it. Buy it. Add it to your collection. It deserves to be in the collection. I have 3 copies of it. Not because I actually went out and bought 3 copies, but I have the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection. It's like this big velvet box that has, like, I don't know, like 12 movies or some shit in it. But Psycho's in there. I have the actual Psycho movie. It's a collector's edition. And then I just recently bought the Psycho quadrilogy, I guess you'd call it, the 4-pack of all 4 movies. So I got 3 copies of it. And I'm glad I got all 3 of them. I will never get rid of any of them because I love that movie. So that's all I got. Guys, let me know what you guys thought about Psycho. Let me know. Show your love for Psycho. If you have not seen it, for fuck's sake. If you're one of those rare people out there who just didn't like it, I would love to hear why you didn't like it. I won't argue with you. I mean, we respect each other's opinions on this show, and I will respect your opinion, even though you're wrong. And I'll tell you you're wrong. No, I'm just joking. But no, I want to know why. If there's something you don't like about, drop it. I mean, I'm that guy too. there are a handful of films out there that are considered classics that I just don't like for whatever reason. We may cover some of those movies in time. So this is one of the movies you're like, I want to know, but I want to know a real reason. Don't just give me some lame ass like, I didn't like. No, I want to hear why you didn't like it. So, guys, that's all I got. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Oh, shit. Didn't always run, sorry. Hi. Thank you for watching that video. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to our channel. All that good stuff you do right here on YouTube, go ahead and do it. Check out our other videos. Go to our playlist. We got episodes of TPS TV, Journey Through the Dark Side. We got a new show coming out, the horror movie review with Daniel Richardson. This guy. And of course, our short film, Entropy. You can find all that and more right here on YouTube. And then check out, yeah, look at that. All of our social media right there. And we don't just, copy and paste like the same post and put it on all. No, that's ridiculous. 3 different platforms, 3 different posts. I mean, the behind the scenes stuff you see on Twitter will not be the same stuff you see on Instagram. So there you go, right there. So be sure to get on, give us a follow and a like on all that right there. Keep up to date. Have you seen Unspeakable Acts yet? No? Come on. Pick you up the DVD right now. Links over there. Oh, yeah. It's only $7. $3 shipping and handling. And of course, if you've already seen it and you haven't seen the Public Domain Dungeon yet, boom, $5 DVD right there. So 5 S&P as well. Or sorry, 3 S&P as well. So there you go. Do that. And if you got the spare change, you want to hit us up, donate a little bit over here to TPS Productions. Our Patreon is right there. Oh, yeah. So that's all we... Oh, my God. Sorry. I'm getting fired, ain't I? Yeah, that's all we got. Thank you for watching.